So today we're going to dive into Psalm 139, which is honestly one of the most profound poems ever written. It really wrestles with this huge idea. What does it actually mean to be completely and totally known by God?
Okay, let's just jump right in with the big question, because this is the tension that runs through the entire psalm. I mean, think about it. The idea that a divine being knows your every move, your every single thought, even the words you're about to say, does that feel comforting? Or does that feel kind of like suffocating surveillance? Your answer for that question really frames how you see everything else.
You know, this analogy just nails it. Imagine a police officer walking down the street. If you're a thief, your heart's going to pound. You see a threat. But what if you're lost or in trouble and you see that same officer? You feel a wave of relief. The officer didn't change at all. The only thing that changed was the perspective of the person seeing them. And that is the exact dilemma that David is exploring here. So let's start where David starts, in those first 6 verses. And the theme is all about God's complete knowledge, what some theologians call omniscience. And David gets super specific here. He says, God knows when I sit down and when I get up. He knows my thoughts from a million miles away. He's familiar with every single path I take. And this is the line that always gets me. God knows my words before they're even on my tongue. I mean, that is an all-encompassing, piercing kind of knowledge. There are absolutely no secrets. But here's the thing. To really get what's being said, we have to understand what the word know means here. The original Hebrew word is yada. Now, this is not about knowing facts like a search engine knows facts. Yada means a deep, personal, intimate knowledge, the kind of knowledge you have with your closest friend or your partner. It's relational. So God doesn't just have information about you, He knows you. And this verse just brilliantly captures that shift in perspective. At first, hearing you're hemmed in might sound a little scary, right? Like you're trapped. But when you see it through the lens of yada, it's not a prison at all. It's protection. It's like a parent putting their arms around a child to keep them safe. It's the feeling of a loving, steady hand on your shoulder. This knowledge isn't for judgment, it's for care. And this idea just keeps building in the next section, from verses 7 to 12. David shifts from God knowing everything to God being everywhere. This is what theologians call omnipresence. David asks this question, but he already knows the answer. He's not actually trying to plan an escape route. He's trying to wrap his mind around the sheer impossibility of it. He's making a point. There is nowhere to run, and there is absolutely nowhere to hide from God. To prove his point, he uses these really beautiful, poetic contrasts. First, he goes vertical. He says, look, if I go up to the highest heavens, you're there. And if I make my bed in Sheol, which is like the deepest, darkest place of death and despair, even there you're present. From the absolute highest high to the lowest low, God is there. Then he goes horizontal. He says, if I could ride the wings of the morning sun to the far east, or if I settled on the other side of the farthest sea in the west, God is still there. From one edge of the map to the other, there's just no getting away. And here it is again, the crucial part. This presence isn't just God passively watching. David says even in those faraway places, God's hand will guide me, His right hand will hold me fast. It's an active, supportive, strengthening presence. It doesn't matter how far you go or how low you fall, that guiding hand is right there with you. So finally, he thinks about perception. What about darkness? I mean, surely you can hide in the dark, right? But David says, nope. If I say, surely the darkness will hide me, he realizes that to God, the darkness is just as bright as the day. Nothing, not even the night itself, can hide you from this presence. And this is where the entire poem pivots. It's a huge turning point that brings us to this theme, the inescapable light of love. After laying out how God's knowledge is total and His presence is inescapable, David has this incredible realization. He realizes that being unable to get away from this all-knowing, ever-present God isn't a trap. It's actually the very thing that makes him feel secure. The fact that he can't escape becomes the guarantee that he will never, ever be abandoned. The thing that could have felt like a massive burden is actually his greatest comfort. So if this all-seeing, all-knowing presence isn't meant to trap us, then what is it? Well, David's conclusion is crystal clear. This is not some cosmic security camera. It is not surveillance. It is grace. The fact that God knows every single flawed, broken, messy part of us and still chooses to be present with us, to guide us, to hold on to us, well, that is the very definition of grace. So why grace? Because a God who sees you at your absolute worst and doesn't look away is a God of grace. His presence isn't about catching you when you mess up. It's about holding you so you don't fall apart. For Christians, this all comes together in the idea of Emmanuel, which literally means God with us. The idea that God didn't just watch from a distance, but actually came into our world, into our darkness, to be right here with us. Which brings us all the way back to that first question. After seeing God's knowledge not as data collection, but as that deep relational yada, and his presence not as surveillance, but as a guiding protective hand, how does it feel to you now? Is it a comfort or a burden? Maybe, just maybe, like David discovered, it's the most profound comfort we could ever possibly know.